Hey gang, AV here, and welcome to my review of the Boss Fight Studios Vitruvian Hacks Felonious the Wandering Mage figure. Here he is in the package, and you may notice if you already have a Felonious figure that this is different. That's because this is the web store exclusive, the Boss Fight Studios store exclusive Black Felonious figure. He comes with a different robe and a hairpiece. But as far as I can tell, all the other accessories are the same. Here he is in the package. You can see the majority of his accessories through the package. You will notice that one of the potion vials is loose in the box. That's because I've just had the figure opened. I began reviewing him, and I really didn't like the way the video was turning out, so I decided to start over. Anyhow, here he is in the package. This is what HACS stands for. It stands for Highly Articulated Character Kit System. There's his name, Wandering Mage. It's an adult collectible. Here's the back of the box. Now you may notice that he has a file card. This is a homage to the G.I. Joe figures that we all know and love. And as you can see, the file card is roughly about the same size. You can clip and connect these just like you used to back in the day. Feel free to pause the video and read the file card if you wish. As you can see, they actually have quite an elaborate backstory for these figures, which I do love. It helps give the characters a lot of character. Here are the other characters in the wave. I believe this was wave 1 and wave 2 of series 2, which is the fantasy line for the hack system. Here is a QR code. You may feel free to use that if you wish. And again, that's the bossfightshop.com. That is the only place where you can get the Black Felonious figure, which you're about to see. Now, and as I had mentioned earlier in the video, I had already taken the figure out of the package, and it doesn't matter because these are collector-friendly packaging. They just have these plastic flaps that hold the card in. All you have to do is remove one of the flaps or bend it down, and then you can slide the card right out and remove the figure tray. Like so. So we're going to take this off to the side, get it out of the way. And as I mentioned a second ago, I had already had the figure out. That's why these vials are loose. Now, one of the main reasons why I'm doing these reviews is because there are an awful lot of accessories that come with these figures. They are also in a collector-friendly packaging, which means that you can take them out of the package and then put them back in as though you never took them out in the first place. So with those two things in mind, you do want to be careful when you purchase these things on the aftermarket, just to make sure that all the accessories and whatnot are included. Do your best to ask questions, to look through the bubble to make sure you can see as many of the items as possible. Look at my review and other reviews like it on YouTube ahead of time if you can, to see which accessories are meant to come with it, etc., etc., etc. So just be careful. Sometimes you could purchase it and be missing out on something. So anyhow, these are normally taped in. I removed the tape when I did the other review, and they have been loose ever since. But basically, these are little potion vials. This is an empty one. It's clear. There's a painted cork on the top. As you can see, they're very tiny. And this is a red potion vial. There are several different types of magician characters in the line that have been released so far, and most of them not only come with their own potion vials, but they also come with different colored potion vials, which is pretty cool. This little bag has his figure stand and 2 sets of extra hands. As you'll see when I go over the articulation of the figure, all the wrists are hinged. So he has 2 sets of grasping hands like this one. One set's on the figure, the other set comes in this bag, and they all bend. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the ones on the figure themselves will bend up and down. These go in and out. So depending on what you're trying to display the figure with, you have the option of choosing which way the hand will bend, because they give you one of each. And I think that's very cool, and it's actually something that a lot of the reviews I've seen online anyway, have actually overlooked. So I wanted to take the time to point that out. He also comes with a set of these opened palm hands, which bend up and down. And he's got right and left hands, obviously. Now, these hands are meant to hold these potion vials. And they do a decent job of it, but as you can see, they're not secure in there, so you have to be careful if you choose to display him with the potion vial in his hand. And they also are meant to hold his spellbook. Let me get it out of there. Hopefully I can do that without spilling everything else all over the place. Here it is. All right. So yeah, he can hold his spellbook pretty well. It looks natural enough. Again, it's not secure. It's just going to rest in there, but they give you the ability to do it, and that's nice. Speaking of the spellbook, it has some fantastic detail. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, you almost feel like you can read it, can't you? I don't think you can, but it almost looks like it should be able to be read. I even like the way they painted the ribbon. It's got some nice texture on the outside of the book itself, some nice painted details for the corners and the locking mechanism. It appears to have like a Celtic symbol here for the cover of the book. The Spellbook is fantastic. It's one of my favorite accessories out of all these figures. You may also notice that on that ribbon there's a peg. And that peg is specifically for the flame effect that he comes with, which is a nice translucent orange. It has a hole in the bottom, which pegs on there easy enough. So when you have this in his grasping hand, it looks like he's casting a spell and the flames are coming out of the spellbook. Very cool. I have seen other people review this figure online, and they missed that particular feature. They did find the hole on the bottom, but most of them stuck his thumb in there to make it look like he was casting a flame effect right from his hand. And you know what? That works too. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't believe that that is what was initially intended for this particular piece. It was for the spellbook itself. He also comes with a closed version of the spellbook. Now this is a different book than the one I had just shown. As you can see, the covers are different colors, and this one has gold, whereas the other one had silver. But it does have the same Celtic symbol on the cover of the book. This one just happens to be locked. You can see they actually painted the pages and everything. It looks fantastic. It also has this permanently molded chain on the end with a peg. This will peg to the figure's belt, and I will demonstrate that once I get the figure out of the tray. He has a staff, which is about 4 inches tall. And it's got a nicely molded dragon on the top. Very cool. It's got a spike on the bottom. Very cool accessory. Every self-respecting wizard should have their staff. He comes with a knife. If I can get the knife out of the tray. I'm going to use his opened hand to give me a hand. Oh, I'm so witty. All right, come on. Get out of there. Come on. Oh, man. That didn't work. Maybe the display base. I have no fingernails. All right, here we go. Nice dagger. This actually fits into a notch on his belt, which I will also demonstrate once I get the figure out. He comes with a little animal companion. A little mouse. Oh, I'm off camera. A little tiny mouse with some fur, molded on fur detail, painted pink ears, some painted in eyes, a nose, and a pink tail. A little rat. Actually, I guess this would be a rat, wouldn't it? Or a mouse. I'm not up on my rodent designations, so bear with me. Still, it's a nice piece. Very nice piece. He comes with a hood, which kinda sorta connects to his the top of his cloak here, using this lip. Now, as I tried out in the previous video, which I just deleted off my phone because it was running a little long and not very good, this is meant to connect to that piece, but mine is kind of warped, so it doesn't really connect as it should, but it should connect so that this and the top of the figure's cloak actually appear to be one piece. As you can see, they're both molded in the same color. They should fit together seamlessly. They're meant to fit together seamlessly, but my particular example doesn't. It's a little warped. I probably could heat that up and work at it a little bit more, but that's for a different time. So here we have the figure itself. Finally, 12 minutes into the video. But here he is. As you can see, very nice head sculpt. The hair is sticking up a little bit, and I think that's because of the yeah, it was because of his cloak pushing up on his hair. If I fit the hair underneath, there, it fits a lot better. The hair piece is exclusive to the to this particular version of the figure, which again you have to get on the website. Same with the black cloak. The standard release came with green and had molded on hair. But some very nice molded detail on the belt. This is a Hacks figure again, so all this stuff is removable and usable for customs. Even though that looks like it's one continuation of his pants, it's actually a separate piece. It's like a cuff that you can slide off of his ankle. But anyhow, this is the figure. The hair piece is removable. There's a notch on the inside there, and there's a notch in the back of his head so that you can fit it on just right. And you take it off to make putting his hood on that much easier. Again, it doesn't line up as perfectly as it should, but it's still on there. And he looks decent. But this lip should go in there and it should look seamless. But anyhow, let's move on. This thing can actually, I like it because it breaks up the fabric and it actually makes it look a lot more believable. But it's also kind of a pain because it's a very soft rubbery plastic and it's got a peg hole here which is very difficult to get into his back sometimes. It just wants to bend instead of going into the peg hole. It just tries to bend out of the way, and you have to struggle with it a little bit. Once you get it in there, you're good, but it's kind of a nuisance when you're posing the figure sometimes, I'll be honest. So we're going to take that off for now. He's got a cloth cape, and all these notches on his belt. Basically, you've got this notch here, that's for his knife. Okay, this peg hole here, this is for his spellbook, his closed spellbook. Which fits in just like that. So he can carry that around with him. And looking on his belt, there's really nowhere else for him to peg anything else. So you're probably wondering, what do I do with his potions and whatnot? Well, unfortunately, the potions, because they fit so loosely in his hands, although you could kind of put them in his grasping hands. I mean, they do fit that way. But, you know, he's got more accessories than he can hold, is basically what I'm boiling it down to. But there is a way to store them on the figure. And I'm going to bring this up. Basically, Marauder's Task Force sells various accessories for the 1/18th scale. And one of the accessories that they sell, I believe it's only like 20 cents each or something like that. They're very affordable. But anyway, they sell these things called C-clips. And let me just get my... I used them on a custom figure that I had made to attach the potions to his belt. And they work great. Potions just fit right in there. And hold it right in place. And they peg in. I don't know. I might have glued it on, honestly. But they do peg into the holes that, like, his book would have pegged into. So you can pick up these C-clips, put that into the hole instead of the book, and have a place to store his potions, if you so choose. And also, I've also seen people not store his knife back there, but instead store the potion by slipping the nozzle underneath the flap. And that works great too. So you have a lot of options, and I'm just pointing them out there. All right, we're running a little bit long, so let's start to do the articulation on this guy so that you guys can get a move on here. Now, the cloth cape can make this a little bit difficult, so you got to move the cloth around while you're doing it. But he will do a full 360 with the shoulders. Once you find there's nothing at the bicep, he can go up and down. It's obviously not hindered in that regard. You just got to know to spin the fabric as you're turning the arm. Same goes for his elbow. He can do 90 degrees and almost 90 degrees down too. He can do a full 360. Again, be sure to rotate the fabric. His wrists, as I had mentioned before, not only do a full 360 because it's just a simple peg, but this particular set bend up and down. Mine's a little stiff, but it works. And the other set that he comes with goes out and in. They give you one set of each. So I love that. And it's something that a lot of people who have reviewed these figures in the past somewhat overlook. So I felt like pointing it out there. He does have an ab crunch, which is a little hindered by his belt. Frankly, that's why he popped off just like that. It's attached by a simple ball joint, so it's very easy to take these figures apart and put them back together. He does have waist articulation. Again, it's hindered by the fact that his belt is there, and the cloth cape prevents you from seeing what you're doing, but it is there if you work with it. His legs can do a full split. You can do the can-tan about that far. He's got nothing at the upper thigh, no swivel there. He's got a double hinged knees. Full swivel at the ankle. He can pivot forward and back. Very good articulation on this guy. The cloth cape or robe doesn't hinder his articulation much, but you just have to be mindful, like for his arms, for example, to spin the fabric as you're spinning the arm. Let's get his hair back on. He's a good figure, very good figure. I love his accessories. I love the fact that he is so posable. And because he is part of the hack system, you can pop his arms off, pop his torso off, change his legs out, swap heads. It's very easy. I mean, they just come right off and then pop right back on again, no issues. All right, let's do a size comparison before I forget. Here he is next to a modern G.I. Joe. As you can see, he's a little bit taller. And here he is next to a vintage G.I. Joe. And he is quite a bit taller than him. So they do fit in with modern figures more than vintage ones. Good articulation, excellent accessories, nice paint application. I like everything about the figure, frankly. As a standalone figure, he's great. As a kit bash resource, so you can get the accessories and make new figures, he's great. He comes apart easy, so painting and customizing make it a snap. And I really can't recommend him enough. This has been AV. If you like this video of my Dark Felonious figure from Boss Fight Studios, be sure to check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.